We pay our respects to elders, past and present, and extend that respect to any First Nations people here today. Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land. While photography and filming is permitted during the ceremony, we ask that you do so discreetly and with respect to the people around you. Thank you for joining us in unholy matrimony.
Available to us as mortals on this earth, one of commitment and devotion, of hearts offered and vows made. Please rise for the fated couple.
Applause for our beautiful couple. Today we are blessed to gather and witness the joining of Jasper and Tanner in unholy matrimony. I am Abby Witherton, a civil servant and disciple of the Lamb, given sanction by all authorities to conduct today's ceremony and guide us through this ritual. The ritual of marriage is one that has transformed over time amongst communities and between individuals. Since the dawning of the first life, we have searched for ways to tie ourselves to one another, to moor in the storm, to light in the dark. Whether through fate or chance, Jasper and Tanner have come forward today to pledge themselves to each other, with all those gathered here to witness this vow. And we would like to acknowledge those who could not be here with us today, whether through distance, time, or the finite nature of mortality. Though they are not here with us in person, they still bear witness to this occasion. Their presence is felt and never forgotten. Love is a rather magical thing. It can flourish in close proximity and across great distances, which was the case for Tanner and Jasper. A mutual friend, unbeknownst to them, set this particular story in motion by introducing them while playing an online game. Jasper saw Tanner's online avatar and couldn't resist reaching out. It was unlike anything they had ever seen before. After a few tentative conversations, and clearly a mutual interest in the online gaming realm, Tanner and Jasper's friend encouraged Tanner to commission Jasper to develop a bespoke character sheet for Tanner's original character, Winter. While they worked away, the questions Jasper was asking Tanner and the direction Tanner was giving Jasper started to shift outside the scope of the commission. The two started to share their thoughts and opinions on other things, then the happenings of their lives, which eventually deviated so far from commission direction to encompass a little dash of flirting. Over time, they came to understand that they were the perfect fit. Sharing so much in common, from their love of online games to Lego, fishing and their undying love for animals, they had managed to find their person amongst nearly 8 billion people, and despite 14,000 kilometres and a 15-hour time difference. Some things really are just meant to be. They realised things were fairly serious when Tanner raised the flirting bar, drummed up the courage and asked Jasper out, and the two became an official couple. When Tanner came to Australia for the first time, Jasper was surprised to find he was a lot less serious than they had previously thought, discovering that Tanner perfectly matches Jasper's fun-loving, non-serious side, and Tanner perfectly encourages their chaos. When asked, Tanner and Jasper said one of their greatest achievements as a couple was making the decision and shifting Tanner all the way from the United States to live in Australia together. The visa paperwork, organisation and transition into life down under was a quest well won. They have developed a deep understanding of each other, an impeccable synergy and amazing communication. Their aha moment was less of a light bulb and more of a dawn light, gently brightening the world without them realising it. They told me they both, without a doubt, share the feeling of course it's them. Of course I love them. Which brings us to now. While marriage had been on the cards for a little while, they couldn't have expected in their wildest dreams to be getting married here today with the lamb in their wedding party. But fate has a funny way of working its culty magic, so let's begin. Today we will be diving into some ritualistic ancient history. There are many ways to symbolise the joining of two lives, and a lot of the ones we've come to recognise probably came from the ancient cult leaders that came before the lamb. The first we will be performing today is the ring exchange. Can we please have the rings? Now there are a few tales floating about the ring exchange when it comes to weddings. The most common being that ancient Egyptians believed that the fourth finger on the left hand housed a vein that runs straight to the heart. Regardless of the truth behind this, rings are a circle. They are simple and strong, with no beginning or end, to remind us that as we give love, so love comes back around to us. You will now exchange your rings and mark the first stage of the binding. Stage 1 complete. And we are missing a paw. Returning the paw. One moment, Excellent. We're good to go. Now we finalise this binding with a particularly beautiful ritual steeped in rich, witchy pagan history, hand fasting. The hand fasting ceremony has its roots in ancient Celtic tradition and dates as far back as 7000 BC. In ancient Ireland, when two people chose to be married, they were brought together to have a braided cord or ribbon tied around their hands. This act acknowledged the pair's engagement, which typically ran the length of a year. But today we will be performing a hand fasting in the way we commonly refer to marriages, tying the knot. Jasper and Tanner are also excited to welcome their guests who have a small piece of ribbon to come and add to the rope as a sign of your support of their union. I will now perform the hand fasting, and once I step away, I will invite those of you with your ribbon to come up and add your piece before returning to your seats. Right, you can now come up and tie your ribbon.
Thank you.
Sorry guys, I'm going to be plugging the camera here. I don't want you guys to turn into it because it will hurt. Cool.
I think the favourite gift I heard is going to be on John's video. I don't know, you were talking about it. Yeah, but John's right in front of it.
The bunny suit's pretty cute too. It's adorable. I know, that's funny. It's a cut out. I love it. people think that people, oh yeah, those blokes, yeah, you can easily trip on those if you can't, you don't know what you're doing. I caught it. I was on the way to work the other day, and I had my Go Plus on, and I was like, finally got one. I really wanted one ever since they released it. It's like, yes.
Jasper and Tanner are now joined and can therefore not run away as I bore them with the legally binding jargon about how serious marriage is. I am duly authorised by law to solemnise marriages according to law. Before you are joined in marriage in my presence and in the presence of these witnesses, I am to remind you of the solemn and binding nature of the relationship into which you are now about to enter. Marriage, according to law in Australia, is the union of two people to the exclusion of all others, voluntarily entered into for life. Now, to alleviate any doubts about the nature of the union into which you will enter, that wasn't covered off in chasing your love across countries, that very bland legal definition, or just the general vibes of the day, I'd like to now run through some promises to ensure you both in moments of quiet, times of trouble, and each and every day.
I do.
Jasper, do you vow to leave the strongly food preference Tanner out of your adventuring into wild and expansive culinary delights?
I do, yeah.
Tanner, do you promise to love Jasper for their positivity, their empathy and contentment with the beautiful life you have created together?
I do.
And Jasper, do you promise to accept and adore Tanner for his kindness, his charisma, love for all creatures, great and small?
I do.
Wonderful. I think we're in full agreement then. Now, Jasper, repeat after me. I, Jasper Cyclovan.
I, Jasper Cyclovan.
Take you, Tanner Newberg.
Take you, Tanner Newberg.
To be my lawful wedded partner.
Be my lawful wedded partner.
I will now release you from your handfast, tying a knot to symbolize the moment in time as you formally acknowledge and celebrate joining your two halves to make a whole in marriage. To bind these oaths to paper in the signing of the documents. I ask the witnesses to join myself, Jasper and Tanner over at the lectern down here. All others, I ask that you wait patiently for our return.
Put him on to the test.
I still have to rely on the internal stabilization. You have 1 point.
Yeah, no, that'd be it. Nice. magic.
Legit. So much easier.
Why'd you get black magic? Series 1, 6 events. Oh, okay.
And also,
Perfect.
well,
Yes. Look at this.
Brother ended up missing.
That's
Black
amazing.
magic. Is it just the camera loading or did you get the lens as well? Both.
buy the one. Because I just buy the one that's based on. Like I buy the one for
Got my balloon in the shot.
this is an EF. Because I'm Sony and Canon.
And then the back.
So it's just with this. Same deal. So that is different. Yeah, it just, to me it was no-brainer. Purely for B-roll, the colour science. Yes, colour science. Plus, like magic is based in Melbourne. Like to the point where I went to the guys mentioned an issue I had on the second camera. I was just sitting out there having a play. And the lead engineer for Black Magic that I put in came past and was like, oh, look at that. So the dude who designed these cameras to come past and help fix it. Like, you don't get that. And also the fact that it's like, well, the resolve is so each resolve is put it down my issue is getting away from, I don't want to move away from the rest. I thought they were just small like pax onions.
We have witnessed today the rites of binding between two hearts, and we count ourselves blessed. We have witnessed today a gesture of true devotion, and we count ourselves blessed. Though at times the world seems dark, it is in our nature to mark these moments of clarity and bliss, in which our greatest act of godliness is simply to be together. In this way, we are thrice blessed. It is my great honor as your celebrant that I am authorized to say, Jasper and Tanner, I now pronounce you married. You may smooch your person.
joining us for unholy matrimony. Invited guests of the couple, we welcome you to stay for cake and celebrations. The second unholy matrimony ceremony will be held at 3 o'clock this afternoon. We wish you a wonderful time here at PAX Australia. Praise the Lamb.
Always was, always will be, Aboriginal land.
While photography and filming is permitted during the ceremony, we ask that you do so discreetly and with respect to the people around you. Thank you for joining us in unholy matrimony.
Welcome, congregation, to the Temple of the Lamb. Please join me in praising our leader. Praise the Lamb! Praise the Lamb! Praise the Lamb! Praise the Lamb! When I say praise, you say lamb. Praise the Lamb! Praise the Lamb! Praise the Lamb! Welcome all. We are gathered here today to witness one of the most sacred of rituals available to us as mortals on this earth. One of commitment and devotion, of hearts offered and vows made. A round of applause as we welcome our groom. And now, please all rise for the bride. Please be seated. Wow. Another round of applause for our beautiful couple. Today we are blessed to gather and witness the joining of Blake and Shania in unholy matrimony. I am Abby Wiverton, a civil servant and disciple of the Lamb, given sanction by all authorities to conduct today's ceremony and guide us through this ritual. The ritual of marriage is one that has transformed over time amongst communities and between individuals. Since the dawning of the first light, we have searched for ways to tie ourselves to one another, to moor in the storm, to light in the dark. Whether through fate or chance, Blake and Shania have come forward today to pledge themselves to one another with all those gathered here today witnessing this vow. And we would like to acknowledge those who could not be here with us today, whether through distance, time, or the finite nature of mortality. Though they are not here with us in person, they still bear witness to this occasion. Their presence is felt and never forgotten. Before this couple is bound together for all eternity, we must reflect on the impressive passage of time and the story that came before. Blake and Shania's story started in a setting teeming with romance, the stage perfectly set for a life of companionship. That place was the afternoon school bus. The year is 2011. Blake is minding his own business, watching his stock crawl closer and closer, when Shania pops down behind him and says she really just felt like starting a conversation with him. Little did they both know that this interaction would set in place a series of events that would lead them 13 years later to getting married before the cult of the Lamb. Of this series, might I add, was Blake running home to tell his mum about the cute girl who spoke to him on the bus. This relationship and the marriage that will now follow has been built on the foundation of honesty and trust. Blake and Shania have grown together through the trials and tribulations of adolescence, to first share house experiences and pandemics. They share a deep affinity for video games, if you couldn't already tell. And when I asked them what their ideal date was, they described a whole day together. A morning art or collectibles fair, followed by a charcuterie board in the park, with cheese stipulated in bold, underline, and caps. With the day ending up curled on the couch together, playing a game and just being. From a first shy goodbye kiss that is etched on their hearts from a timid walk home after school, to developing an unshakable core feeling that they were two halves that made a whole, Shania and Blake view their relationship through a proverb that couldn't be a more thoughtful and telling indication of the deep mutual respect and adoration they share. We're both writing the same story, just in different fonts. And while we're not changing those fonts today, we're joining those fonts together. A perfect pairing, unlike Comic Sans and Papyrus. So let us begin. There are many rituals that symbolize the joining of two lives, but a particularly beautiful one, steeped in rich history, and that is particularly important to Blake and Shania's ancestry, is hand fasting. The hand fasting ceremony has its roots in ancient Celtic tradition and dates as far back as 7000 BC. In ancient Ireland, when two people chose to be married, they were brought together to have a braided cord or ribbon tied around their hands. This act acknowledged the pair's engagement, which typically ran the length of a year. But today, we will be performing a hand fasting in the way we commonly refer to marriages, tying the knot. Shania and Blake, I will now perform the hand fasting, which we will then tie at the conclusion of your legal vows. Shania and Blake are now joined and therefore cannot run away, as I bore them with the legally binding jargon about how serious marriage is. I am duly authorised by law to solemnise marriages according to law. Before you are joined in marriage in my presence and the presence of these witnesses, I am to remind you of the solemn and binding nature of the relationship into which you are now about to enter. Marriage, according to law in Australia, is the union of two people to the exclusion of all others voluntarily entered into for life. Now, to alleviate any doubts about the nature of the union you're about to enter into that wasn't covered off in the last, 13 years, that very bland legal definition, or just the general vibes of the day, I'd like to now run through some promises to ensure you both wholeheartedly agree to support, love, and cherish each other and your individual wants and needs. Blake, do you promise to memorise, articulate, and advocate for the approximate 2,000 known species of hexapod invertebrates of the class Insecta?
I do.
Shania, do you vow to continually refamiliarise yourself with the intimate details of 4 Olympus engines and double delta wings of the Concorde aircraft?
I do.
And Blake, do you promise to eternally be prepared to dress up and walk around the streets as Shania's favourite video game character for any appropriate event?
I do.
Shania, do you promise to continually develop both yours and Blake's lyrical genius and singing stamina when developing meticulous odes to your cats?
I do.
And finally, Blake, do you promise to love Shania with your whole being to the ends of the earth and the world of tomorrow?
I do.
Shania, do you promise to love Blake with your whole being to the ends of the earth and the world of tomorrow?
I do.
Wonderful. I think we're in full agreement then. Now, Blake, repeat after me. I, Blake Edward Dankworth,
I, Blake Edward Dankworth,
take you, Shania Courtney Ginn,
take you, Shania Courtney Ginn,
to be my lawful wedded wife.
to be my lawful wedded wife.
Shania, repeat after me. I, Shania Courtney Ginn,
I, Shania Courtney Ginn,
take you, Blake Edward Dankworth,
take you, Edward Dankworth, Blake Edward Dankworth,
to be my lawful wedded husband.
to be my lawful wedded husband.
I will now release you from your handfast, tying a knot to symbolise this moment in time as you formally acknowledge and celebrate joining your two halves to make a whole in marriage.
Okay. I'll try and hold myself together for this. Do excuse me if I cry.
You got this, man!
I'll preempt myself with the tissues, I think. Shania, over the past few years, I've written countless versions of the words you're about to hear today. And yet somehow, even what I'm about to say today still won't be enough to convey my love for you. 13 years ago, when we first met, little did I know just how much of a profound effect you would have on my life. I think it's safe to say I found something truly special in your arms. To think we're here today all because you picked me of all people to chat to still blows my mind. Who knew having a shattered wrist would be so lucky? Since that day, my life has been filled with such light and joy, and for that, I thank you. Despite everything, you were the first person to look past the surface at the man within, and you have shown me a love like no other could. I remember the teachers at school used to always have to separate us away from each other constantly, and somehow or another, they would always find us back together again, no matter how hard they tried. Little did they know, this was just the beginning, and one of the first indicators of what was to come. Double trouble we were affectionately known as. Where one was, it wasn't uncommon to find the other just an arm's length away. Forgive me if I get a little bit soppy here, but my honeybee. I see you. From that first little kiss on my cheek, as you try, most of the time successfully, to rouse me from the bed, to that final little cuddle before drifting off to sleep together, I see you. Through each and every trial and each and every achievement, I see you. From playing cold together, hours on end, creating the perfect little cult, to getting my butt kicked in Mario Kart every time, no matter how hard I try, I see you. Throughout every point of the life we shared together, I've always seen you, and I always will until I draw my final breath. I promise to you today a lifetime of love and support. I promise to be by your side no matter what we will face. I promise to raise you up and be the pillar you can always rely on. I promise to honor and cherish you through every part of my life and to be the best husband I possibly can. I'd like to finish off with a quote that I think holds my sentiment on our relationship very dear. For this I will remember when my time on earth is through. The finest thing I've done in life is simply loving you. I love you so much. And that's it.
Let me just get my vows out of my pocket that has dresses. Or dress that has pockets. Look at me, I'm already stuttering. All right. You've given me a great starting point, okay. Thank you. Blake, our wedding day is finally here. We've spent so many years talking and dreaming about what today would look like, and I'm sorry I couldn't have warned you over the years that we might just be this incredibly lucky. But really, that's what I love about you. You managed to take all of my crazy ideas and passions with so much enthusiasm. But joke's on you for marrying the most embarrassing girl ever. When I was a little girl, I loved nothing more than to curl up after school and just watch countless Disney and DreamWorks movies. And just like the fantastical stories that they told, I thought that the true love part wasn't real either, a thing we could only dream of. And then I met you. Now, everything makes sense. You are my partner, my best friend, and my greatest adventure. With you, I've discovered that true love is real. From the first day we met, I knew there was something special. It feels almost like a lifetime ago now. I can still remember us through all those years in high school, laughing and saying we'd face the future together. People often talk about how difficult relationships are supposed to be. They say that love is hard, but really, loving you has been the most easiest and most wonderful thing I've ever experienced. I cannot describe the adoration and gratitude that I have for you. You love me even when it's difficult to, and you're always there to support me. I love you, Blake, for never being afraid to be silly with me, and for putting up with my unique sense of humour, and for giving me the privilege of being the only one who knows just how truly hilarious you are. I vow to always put extra cheese on your dinners and to laugh at horribly inappropriate things with you, to wake you up with a kiss in the morning or to make you chicken soup when you're sick, and to make sure I give you ibuprofen 1 pill at a time when you need it. I promise to grab your toes with my toes when we cuddle at night, and when old age has robbed my toes of their monkey-like dexterity, I will place my feet gently against yours until we fall asleep like we always have. Than anyone else in this world, and yet somehow you still love me. I love the woman I am with you. She is fearless and unconditionally loved, and that is such an awesome gift you have given me. I think this quote from Red Dead Redemption 2 puts it best. He's crazy and I'm a fool, but I trust him because he's true. No lying in him. And when somebody doesn't lie in this world and you don't lie to them, then together you can achieve great things in this world. I love you, Blake. You have always been my greatest adventure.
There is not a dry eye in this house. So, while we all gather ourselves after those beautiful vows, it is time to now bind these oaths to paper in the signing of the documents. I ask the witnesses to join myself, Blake and Shania over here by the lectern. All others, I ask that you wait patiently for our return. And for those who are adding to the time capsule, please have your contributions ready for collection. ourselves blessed. We have witnessed today a gesture of true devotion and count ourselves blessed. Though at times the world seems dark, it is in our nature to mark these moments of clarity and bliss in which our greatest act of godliness is simply to be together. In this way, we are thrice blessed. It is my great honor as your celebrant before the Lamb that I am authorized to say, Blake and Shania, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may smooth your
Joining us for Unholy Matrimony. Invited guests of the couple, we welcome you to stay for cake and celebrations, and we wish you all a wonderful time here at PAX Australia. Praise the Lamb.
Praise the Lamb.